What what is happening, people? Welcome back to Scarfy's Personal. This is the Premier League podcast every Wednesday night. I'm your host for this week, and I'm joined by an excellent panel. So let's introduce them. Firstly, John from John Sinclair TV. How you been doing?
Big up to Mr. Scarf. I hope you're well. And big up to Dan, Big Blue. Big up to Barney, big Fulham fan as well, guys. Fantastic group as well. Love you all, and thank you very much for having us on.
Nice, absolute pleasure to have you on. I mean, you had a video go viral, didn't you, where you saw Everton fan and content creator Ryan. So talk to people a bit about that, because that looks amazing.
Yeah, man. What happened was, right, I mean, went to Everton match and we drew nil each at Goodison Park, and I met him before the game and he's asked some questions. I told him I'm 55 and he just said, no way. So basically, right, he just said, you look fantastic, etc. The video's out there. So what he did, he posted it a couple of days ago, and I didn't realise I had a DM saying, John, there's a video going around about you. And I'm thinking, oh, heck, it's got to be a troll, surely. And then I quickly realised I've been viral, which is great. So, look, I'm a normal fan, Newcastle fan. I mean, I'm not a big star, but you know what it is? I mean, and on TikTok, I've got over about 300 people wanting me to follow them, and I can only do like 30 at a time. So if I haven't followed you, I will follow you. Don't worry. And I'll still get comments on one of my videos up to this very day. So yeah, so big up to Ryan, and thanks to the fans, you know.
Oh, that's great. No, obviously, I think you spoke really well in there. I think Ryan's also fantastic. So no, I really enjoyed that. Talking of Everton, Everton fans for tonight is Dan from the Toffee Bluecast. Dan, how you been doing?
Yes, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Plodding along with the football, enjoying the ups and the downs as you get as an Everton fan at the minute.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I can't really speak to that level of experience with Spurs as well. It is up and down. I mean, John and Barney, I'm sure, can all relate to the up and down experience of being a football fan. But thank you very much for joining us this evening. Barney, how you been doing?
I'm good, thanks, Harry. Yes, very good to be on here and to talk to you all. Again, what Dan says, it's a bit up and down this season being a Fulham fan, a bit inconsistent, but we're all football fans and we're all here for the ride.
Absolutely. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the new channel intros. This is the first show that's being used. So yeah, that's absolutely fantastic to have that and up and rolling. So firstly, before we get into the Gameweek 10 preview, we will review Gameweek 9, which has just happened. And we will start with the first game. It was Friday night at the King Power Stadium, which ended Leicester 1, Forest 3. John, I'll start with you on this one. Firstly, I want to focus on Chris Wood. I mean, he got 2 goals in this game. He's the Premier League's top scorer. He's absolutely on fire, isn't he?
Do you know what it is, right? I did not expect Chris Wood to be on fire. You know, like I'm getting 20, 25 goals. I think he'll probably get that this season if he carries on the way he is. But big up to Chris Wood, by the way. We could have done with him, by the way. He should have stayed with us. But we bought him and then he moved on to Forest, yeah. But he's not the first one to let go and does well. But he's got a hat-trick against us last season as well, Chris Wood. But he has transformed his career. He's 32 now, and what Nuno's done to this guy is, and also for the team, they've been brilliant. It's just magic, and they're playing good football, counter-attacking football, and they are so difficult to beat. Good defense, and going forward, brilliant. Hudson-Odoi out of this world at the minute, and Elanga, great player, but Chris Wood is just what do you call it? What's the one looking for? He's just like an unsung hero for the club. Do you know what I mean? And it's nice to see someone like him scoring goals in that for a Forest point of view. But what a job he's done at the minute. And if he carries on where he is, then who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Barney, you can talk about strikers being on fire at the moment with Raul Jimenez, with yourself. But Chris Wood, he's had a good start to the season, hasn't he? And Nuno's really getting the best out of him.
I think when you have a striker who installs belief in you, like obviously the Forest manager is, and Chris Wood is on fire. What is it, 7 goals for him this season already? I've been really, really impressed with him. I mean, Forest, they're flying up the table, and like us and Bournemouth, they appear to be establishing themselves in the Premier League. And this particular result, what we are speaking about now, I mean, they really exerted themselves. Chris Wood, 2 great goals, obviously They came from 2 defensive errors. But yeah, I really rate him, Harry. I think he's a player who most managers will want in their side at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely on fire. If you've got him in the FPL team as well, you'll be very happy at the moment. And there's quite a few strikers that are doing well, but he's certainly at the top of the list. Dan, how far for you can Forest go? What can they achieve? Because they started the season really well. It's going really well. Everything's pretty at this moment in time under Nuno. What is possible? Because I thought there'd be a relegation battle. Can they go further? Can they finish inside the top half?
I think they're a team that are probably going to look to get themselves comfortably mid-table, and then if you're there and you start to look and push higher, then I mean, if you go mid-table halfway through the season, you start looking at the 6th, 7th position, and I know that's crazy, but if you are there, you start looking at it. If you're in the top half of the table, you start thinking that 6th or 7th position. I mean, for me, we talk about Chris Wood. And I think he is smashing it, but you have to have a look. Why is he smashing it? And when you've got Alanga and Hudson-Odoi on the wings, who are very creative, very fast, I think Wood's finally found players that can give him the service that he wants, that he probably didn't get at Burnley. And another player that I want to give fat out for them, who I don't really rate, and I always watch him and think he's crap, but he's smashing it, is Yates in the centre of midfield for Forest. Yates is doing really well. He's stepped up. He's like a captain. He is captain sometimes. And I always look at Nottingham Forest and look at Yates in the middle and think, championship player, but he's smashing it and he's dominating games, and he's the reason that they are playing well.
Absolutely. I think Turton's right in the chat as well. Elliot Anderson. John can relate to this. He's doing really, really well. At the moment, he's absolutely ripping it up. John, do you think it's a mistake for Newcastle to let Elliot Anderson go?
Well, I mean, look, I'm gutted that you went to Forest, by the way. I really am gutted, Harry. I really am, because the fact of the matter is, right, I mean, there's other players who should have sold players like Sean Longstaff, Miguel Almiron, Matt Target, Kallum Wilson, Jacob Murphy. We could have sold over them, but I think that's got to be the worst piece of business I've seen as a Newcastle fan. Elliot Anderson going one way, Vlachodimos coming over the other way. We did not need a goalkeeper, and we got 2 in the summer, which is incredible, man. I mean, look, at the end of the day, right? I mean, Elliot Anderson could have been in Sean Longstaff's place, 100%, yeah. But our fans keep saying that we had to get rid, otherwise you're going to get the points deducted from PSR, yeah. But it's always going to have done it, yeah. And people are accepting this, Harry, yeah? And I've always said, Elliot Anderson did not need to be sold, yeah? I could have been sold. That is the thing. Sean Longstaff, 1 year left on his contract, yeah? We are awful sellers, Harry. We really, really are. And PSR hasn't helped, but we could do Elliot Anderson right now because he's the one who could make things happen, yeah? And the worst thing is, we did not give offer like a buyback clause at all whatsoever. Now, this guy is going to be worth 50, 60 million quid already, the way he's playing. And he'd be playing for England. Give it 2 years, he'd be playing for England.
Oh, we'll have to see. He's certainly on the right path to do so. Next game, going to the Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. There's no lunchtime kickoff in this. Obviously, there was a Friday night one. Is Aston Villa at Villa Park? It could have been the perfect week for Aston Villa, but a late goal in stoppage time, something like the 96th minute, I think, from Tavernier, got Bournemouth a point right at the very death. So, John, I will come back to you for this one. It's 2 points dropped, isn't it, for Aston Villa, where you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, that is not good. I mean, Unai's not going to be happy with that at all whatsoever. And it was a soft goal as well. But Villa at home, you expect to beat Bournemouth. No disrespect to Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth's having a good season so far. But at the end of the day, I think Villa should have been a better team. Should have got the 3 points. But when you look back on it, Villa, seems to be coming the end of the season and they don't get top 4, they're going to look at this game and think it's 2 points dropped. That is the thing. But to be fair to Villa, I mean, like I said, have a good season. I mean, Morgan Rogers, what a player he is, this guy. Ollie Watkins scoring goals. And Unai Emery has come back to prove a point back in the Premier League, right? We should have had him before Eddie Howe. But at the end of the day, he's turned that football club around, got them Champions League. They're top of the table of the Champions League group as well. And I think Villa's going to have a good season. Bournemouth as well, and Areola. They got some good players there. Semenyo's fantastic. I love this winger. We should be eyeing him up anyway. But
Yeah.
when you look back on it, I think Bournemouth will be relieved to get that point, and Villa will be kicking themselves.
Absolutely. Correction, it was Tavernier who got the assist, not the goal. It was the 96th minute. It was Evan Nilsson who got the goal in the end for Aston Villa, for Bournemouth against Aston Villa. He came off the bench to do so. I mean, both teams have started the season really well. So, Dan, I don't think it's all panic stations, is it, for Aston Villa? I mean, they had a busy week, and overall, I still think it was a positive week for them, wasn't it?
Well, when you speak to, when I've had people on the Toffee Bluecast speaking about Aston Villa, it's like you can accept losing against them because they know Aston Villa, they've got a good manager, they're in Europa League, and they've given themselves a really good name, Aston Villa. But against us, we was 2-0 up, and we let it slip, and we was 3-2. So for us to go 2-0 up, you've got to say there's weakness in Aston Villa there. The Fulham fan that I had on the show, he said that they should have got something against Aston Villa. And he said they was massively unlucky against Aston Villa. And then all of a sudden, you see this Bournemouth game pop up and Bournemouth get a draw out of them. So, I don't know. Are Aston Villa the big outfit that they come across? Or is there a lot of weakness in them? Because I think when you start thinking we should have 2-0, we should have got something against them. Fulham fan says he should have got something against them. Bournemouth did get something against them. So there's obviously a bit of weakness there with Aston Villa. So I'm not.
We saw it last season, didn't we? When they got to the latter stage of the Conference League, they just couldn't cope with both.
Exactly.
So there we go. But they do find themselves inside the top four, level on points with Arsenal, and only 5 points off the top. Bournemouth themselves comfortably in 11th place with 12 points. A decent 8 points above the relegation zone. They have their sights above them on teams like Spurs, sadly, Forest and Brentford. I'm very sure of that. Barney, what are your thoughts on this game? I mean, Dan mentioned it there about Aston Villa weaknesses. Do you think they're starting to come apart a little bit as the season goes on? Maybe interest elsewhere, the Champions League, which I think is understandable.
Well, it's like what John said. They've been a revelation since they've come up, Aston Villa, to the Premier League, and this new Aston Villa manager's taken over. He's turned them into a force. But in recent games, particularly what I saw of them recently, they do have a weak side to them, and they can be got at. And looking at this game, Bournemouth will see that definitely as a 0.1. If I was a Villa fan, I would be looking at that as definitely 2 points dropped. We should have got something from them as well last week. Our own mistakes let us down. And again, with this game, I think Bournemouth were deserving of a point. They just battled and saw it out. I mean, they're a good mid-table side, Harry, Bournemouth, but I do think Villa will be there or thereabouts come the season's end, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have to see how it unfolds for Aston Villa, but I still think it's an exciting time at the moment to be a Villa fan. The next game I want to move on to is one that, I mean, let's be clear, I think overall it was a really good footballing weekend. Regardless of your team's result, there's a lot of action in it, but that Saturday in particular was special. This game represents that for me perfectly. Several goals in it. It was a massive goal thriller at Brentford Stadium, the G-Tech, where they, in the end, beat Ipswich 4-3. I mean, John, what an absolutely crazy game that was, wasn't it? Absolutely bonkers. Do you think Ipswich, though, should be proud of that performance, despite the results? Easy to get hung up sometimes about, we lost. We should, is there positives to take for Kieran McKenna?
100%. I mean, Ipswich, as long as Ipswich come to the Premier League to entertain, not going to come to the Premier League to play boring football, they give it a right go against a very good Brentford side that I think Brentford's going to be safely mid-table this season, by the way, under Tommy Frank. But Ipswich went 2 goals up and 2 good goals, and then they just couldn't hold on to it. You know what I mean? I knew Brentford had come back. Ipswich defence is not the best at the minute. I can't lie. They will see goals. They conceded 4 against West Ham, and you just knew they're going to be leaky at the back. And Brentford will find a way. And Bemio, that guy is the real deal. Fantastic player. But if you go back to Ipswich, I think they should be proud. Do you know what I mean? I mean, scoring goals is not a problem. It's their defence. If they can fix their defence, I think Ipswich would be absolutely fine. I think they're centre half away staying up, because Ipswich under Kim McKenna are so fantastic. He's a fresh breath of fresh air, and he's brilliant. I mean, he's a brilliant manager and young manager, and I hope, Harry, he keeps them up, because they are a good side, but you need to get that defence sorted out. But unlucky for the goals, unfortunately, and Liam Delap, what a player. I think this guy's going to be destined for the top, him, and he'll get lots of goals for Ipswich, no question about that. And I think his goal is going to be so vital if Ipswich is going to stay up. Hopefully he does it, but listen, they haven't won a game this season. That is the thing. They need to start winning quickly.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. It needs to start now. Otherwise, that backlog is great from now to the end of the season. Palace got the first win, as we know, of the weekend. But Barney, I'll move on to you, because John mentions there, the defensive troubles of Ipswich. He's absolutely spot on, I think. Murridge in goal struggled massively. I mean, it was his mistake, wasn't it, for the winner? What do you make of that? Can you excuse that as a goalkeeper? What's he thinking?
Rush of blood to the head, to be honest. I mean, I was actually leaving work when the goal went in, because I didn't know what the score was, and I heard the cheer because I worked next to Brentford's ground. And I looked at the replay, and he needs to take responsibility. But, when you score 3 goals away from home, as John said, if they can sort their defence out, they might do all right. I mean, Brentford score goals for fun, but they also concede too. It makes for entertaining football for the neutral, but Ipswich will be kicking themselves, to be honest, for not getting a point from that game.
No, we're good on that. They'll be fuming. A lot of positives. As John mentioned, Delap, really exciting. Got Hutchinson, plenty of attacking talent, and they could get it right. Phillips could be key to protecting the defence. I think they've got a lot of players injured that they maybe haven't suffered before. Maybe life to the Premier League for them in that case. But I don't think they signed the right goalkeeper in this. To be totally honest with you, it's not just based off this. I have a good friend at school who's an Ipswich fan. I've been saying for a long while. When I went to Spurs and watched Spurs play Burnley in the Cup, we won 1-0. All these goal kicks kept going out of play. I thought he was awful. So I think they may have got that wrong. And they've still got a lot of players generally at their team and in the squad, but also in that 11 that were part of the League One team. So they have done some good business, but also this is still, they're punching above their weight. That's a simple way of putting it. Dan, do you think Ipswich will be okay? They need to start getting results though, don't they?
Well, when I was watching them at the start of the season, they went ahead against Man City and they went ahead against a couple of teams, and you think the start games really well. Reminded me a little bit of Luton last season. They really have come up and gone for it. But we come up against them not long ago. We beat them, and they was poor in defence. Like we haven't been that good ourselves, but they was poor in defence. But they have got some really good attacking players. So maybe if there was to sort that defence out in the January window, they'd probably have a bit more about them, because I think Smodics he did it in the Championship, Smodics, and he's come up and he scored the other day. Smodics is a proper goal scorer. He's really good. The actual striker that you mentioned is incredible as well. So they've got 2 really good goal scorers up top and good wingers. So it's your defence. For me, your spine and your roots is your 2 centre-backs and your 2 centre midfielders. And I think if you look at Ipswich's 2 centre-backs and 2 centre midfielders, I think that's where they go wrong. That's your roots. And the defence is very fragile. Absolutely,
it certainly is. But it was a good game to watch on Match of the Day for sure, as was Brighton and Wolves, which ended 2-2. Brighton in cruise control. Wolves expected to lose coming into it, even more so when they were 2-0 down. But somehow they clawed it back to get a point. Amazing, I think, limbs and scenes in that away end. It was great to see. But Barney, we'll come back to you. It's definitely 2 points drop for Brighton, isn't it? And Fabian Hurster will be frustrated with that.
He'll be very frustrated, particularly after Wolves obviously equalising so late on, with Danny Welbeck and Ferguson obviously getting the Brighton goals, who are a good side, and they'll be challenging up there come the season's end. But the longer the season goes on, I felt the more Wolves desperately needed something, and they had to have their luck turn at some point. So they will definitely see this as a point gained, and hopefully they can push on from this and get some more positive results going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. John, we talk about the limbs. in that Wolves end. It was huge. Does this point feel significant for them in their season? They've got a favourable run of games now, next handful of fixtures. That's a big point, isn't it, considering how Brighton have started the season?
Yeah, obviously it's a massive point for Wolves as well. Come back to 2-0 down and then to get 2 late goals in the end. I thought that was absolutely massive for Gavin O'Neill's outfit. I mean, look, you would have thought Brighton would have been comfortable, 2 goals up, playing really well. And if you look at the goals conceded, I mean, the second one especially, Brighton 4-on-1. Gave the ball away. Wolves broke. Curia got in there and he scored from it. And if it was Brighton, you'd be kicking yourself. But, I mean, Hutzler, if I've pronounced his name right, he is so spot on. And he said, we're not young anymore. We're not, we got to be up for it now. We've got to be up for these games. We're young. And we haven't got time to say, progressing team. We got to learn from this very, very quickly. And most managers would have, I'll be honest, made some excuses. This manager didn't. He'll learn from it. And I think that's 2 points dropped for Brighton. And I think they kind of know that.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Again, same with Villa. It's not, no need to panic, but it's not the result they would have wanted or expected coming into it. Dan, what were your thoughts on this game? Because again, eventful, 4 goals in it at the Amex.
For me, if you was to ask me which was probably one of the most exciting teams that I was interested on seeing this season, it would have been Brighton. I mean, they got the player from you, the winger from Newcastle, who's really good. Paid big money for him, Brighton spent a lot of money. It feels like Brighton have been selling, and not really spending a lot. And this season, it felt like they've spent everything, all that money they this season. Right, we're going to make a good team, but we haven't seen the team that you expect. You look at their players, and they should be smashing Wolves. They should. Disrespect to Wolves, but they should, with the players they've got attacking wise, Wolves shouldn't be able to handle them. So really, really good point for Wolves. So before they played Wolves, I was thinking Wolves are in big trouble here. I think they're going to struggle this season. They needed this. It's going to be interesting to see how Wolves respond to this, because yes, they have gone and got this draw, which they probably didn't think they was going to get, but can they build on that? That's the big question, because if they go and get battered next game, then it's just 1 point that they got. But if it's something that they can build on, then it's a big game for them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they personally will build on it, but yeah, you're absolutely right. They have to. Otherwise, it's not necessarily a wasted point, but a missed opportunity. But the next game at the Etihad, Manchester City versus Southampton, we could all see it going one way. It pointed towards a Manchester City win. Maybe he's not as comfortable as he would have thought, though, Dan. Is it fair to say?
No, you wouldn't expect that, would you? I think we'd all be expecting 6-7 on that left-hand side for Man City goals, but it never goes to expect, does it? I mean, when they play these weaker teams, you always expect a spanking. And sometimes that can be the reason you only get your 1-0, because Manchester City probably take the foot off the gas when they play them, or they think it's an easier game, so they don't try as hard. But yeah, Southampton, I think they'll be happy with that 1-0, even though they get nothing out of it, because Manchester City, you'd probably be expecting a bigger scoreline there.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Haaland looked dangerous, I think, all game. He was never going to blank, was he? Full game weeks in a row without any goals. He should have scored more, though, shouldn't he, John? Really, if you look at the highlights and that, I mean, it wasn't on TV, but saw it much the day after. He could have easily got himself a hat-trick, Erling Haaland.
Yeah, on another day he could have done, but it just wasn't to be. I mean, look, City were comfortable at the end of the day, and they could have put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 past if they really wanted to, but missing chances again. But Southampton did have a chance, by the way. I think this Cameron Archer had a chance at the top of the crossbar, did he? I think. And other than that, Southampton could walk away at the Etihad just being proud. They didn't get a thrashing. And, excuse me, yeah, one thing I will say about Russell Martin, right? I think Southampton should keep him, because what's the point of sacking him and get someone else in, what's the point? Because you got them up. He gets a 3-year deal, and it makes no sense because Southampton were a mess before Ross Martin came in because they believe in his data to say he's the right man for the job because he plays the attack of football the owners want.
Yeah, no, you're right, John. But Russell Martin said that he'd stick by his style regardless. So kind of die on the hill, kind of anti-postecoglou Tottenham mentality. So what happens if they lose the next 6-7 games in a row?
Yeah, playing that way, then I'm sure Southampton will probably have to look into making a change, which is a shame on Martin because you know what? I mean, he's been really good for them. That is the thing. But if they are going to get rid of Russell, then they're going to have to find someone in very, very quickly because Southampton do find managers very, very quickly. Unless Sam Allardyce is about, I'm not sure he's going to turn up, rock up and save the club. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, I mean, I'm sure a win's down the quarter for Saints. And yes, they got some games coming up. And we have to see what happens. But for me, it's still early days. But Southampton needs to get wins very, very quickly. Otherwise, it could be cut adrift. And once you cut adrift in the Premier League.
If our new owners, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, Sean Dyche might stay for a long time. I don't know. Some Everton fans 50-50 on Sean Dyche. But if our new owners in January decided they wanted a new manager, I could see Sean Dyche going to Southampton and probably doing a lot better work than what Southampton manager is doing. He could probably keep them up. You never know.
That's
different manager that just
good call.
Yeah.
That's a fair shout, mate. That's a fair shout, Dan. You never know because stranger things has happened, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? But can you imagine, right, if Sean gets sacked by new owners, he rocks it up to Southampton, right, keeps them up, then wow, that would be unbelievable, man. But stranger things has happened.
Well, it's really interesting to get the thoughts of a Southampton fan in the YouTube chat who says, we're unsavable now, sadly. You can't pick up 1 point in 9 games, expect to stay up. Very true. Everton at home next, at least. So I suggest a little bit of confidence there going into Everton at home.
Bring it on. Bring it on. At least he's not saying that we're crap. I know, yeah. It's good. It'll be a good game. Southampton, for me, though, they didn't... When a team comes up, you look who they sign, and it felt a bit like a Sheffield United sort of thing. Like they didn't commit to signing enough players to stay up. They didn't make that statement to say they're going to really try and stay up. When I look at Southampton's team, I expected them to recruit better and be stronger, but they did.
Yeah, they haven't backed Russell Martin for me enough. But focusing on Manchester City, Barney, they finally kept a clean sheet. Yeah, haven't managed that recently. They've been good going forward. What have you made of their start to the season? Because you'd look at this and go, that's not convincing, but context is vital, isn't it? De Bruyne is still out, Rodri out for the season.
Context is obviously very vital. I mean, they're grinding out wins. Haaland is scoring again, and they have the ability to, even though it's only 1-0, it was never a game that, for me, looked like Southampton were going to score. So even though it's only 1-0, I think Man City were going to see out that game 1-0. They just have a knack of just getting these results. And they've proved time and time again this season that they can do this and rise to sort of, any team that's put in front of them. And but 1-0 is always a dangerous scoreline. And I think Southampton will actually be happy with that defeat and it wasn't a thrashing.
Yeah, absolutely positive for sure for Russell Martin's side. But the next game we'll move on to is Everton and Fulham, which ended 1-1. I mean, we've got an Everton and a Fulham fan on the panel. So I'm going to start with both of them. I'll start with Dan first. Dan, what were your thoughts on this game? Can you push on? Arguably, he's 5 unbeaten now in a row. You must be happy.
No, not happy at all. This game. I'll put my hands up. I'll put my hands up here and say it's probably one of the worst games I've watched Everton all season, and I've watched some bad games this season. We were shocking. Sean Dyche, he really did frustrate me this game because we let Fulham have the ball. I had a Fulham on my channel, and he said we'll dominate possession. I didn't think we'd let them dominate possession so easy. We just let Fulham have the ball. We didn't even press them. Sometimes you bring on the halfway line. We didn't even press them till they got on the edge of our box, and so defensive. So we made the game so easy for Fulham. Fulham dominated us. They should have spanked us. And something needs to be done from that game. Other games before that had been better than this one, but this one was a real concern for me, Harry. It wasn't a good game, and Fulham should have beat us. And the fact of the way we scored as well made me want to probably headbutt the wall. So yeah, it just really wasn't a good game, and one I want to forget about ASAP. To be fair, but they should have won.
No.
Fulham would take a lot more positivity out of that game than what we did. But I do believe that we could be better. And what hindered us was our manager's shocking tactics. We've got some good players now, and we can be a lot better. Sean Dyche, he set us back this game for me.
Yeah, I agree. Brathwaite back, and I think you're on the back foot. And on another day, you come away with nothing. You can take the point. You'll be grateful.
Keane starts. You just said Brathwaite. Yeah. Brathwaite was fully available, and Michael Keane starts. That says it all.
Yeah, it does to say it all. It can't be a precaution thing. I don't think. I think Brathwaite was given the green light as far as everything that was said in the media. So definitely a strange one. But Barney, from a Fulham point of view, I mean, you must be really frustrated. It's not the first time this has happened this season. A late goal, drop points. So do you think Fulham need to, learn simply how to see out games better? Because it's really important, isn't it?
You know what, Harry? I actually spoke to a Fulham podcast the other day about this, and we both agreed. I think it's a mentality issue because it's not the first time this has happened. We gave away 2 points against West Ham. They equalised in stoppage time. It's happened again. We did have the possession. Adama Traore, Iwobi, Emil Smith-Rowe. I thought he was the best player on the pitch, quite frankly, Smith-Rowe. I thought he was brilliant. But there's been this issue this season. Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing better than this time last season, but we just can't kill games off. So we have the chances, but the ball is just not dropping. And yeah, Raul Jimenez is finding form and it's great. And we get the balls into the good areas, but we sometimes seem to freeze. And we don't have that final quality in the final third sometimes. And it's very frustrating. Yeah, 2 points dropped, but on reflection, we didn't lose. It's still a point away from home. Goodison Park is a tough place to go. The final 10 minutes, I think Everton went full on Dyche ball. And I just knew what was coming. The longer it went on 1-0, I just felt, here we go. The big man in the box just takes one header and he always seems to score against us. And he did again. But I take the point and I move on.
Okay, that's nicely put. Southampton fan again in the chat says, what we're seeing is the Premier League, there's no easy game, even when you think you won. You haven't. I think he sums it up pretty nicely. But welcome him onto the podcast. God knows what he's wearing. Kallum, how you doing? All right, Kallum? You're on mute.
Sorry, I just had to unmute myself. Yeah, no, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm rocking the homeless look. I've just gotten in from work and it's blinking freezing. So I thought I'd come on for at least a little bit. Cheers, Rowan.
Thank you for coming on, Kallum. It's better late than never. So, no, do really appreciate it. John, we'll move on to you, though, in this game. How do you see it? We've heard from Dan, we've heard from Barney, the Everton and Fulham perspective. Very vastly different depending on the team. So how do you see this as an outsider like me and Kallum as a football fan? Do you think a draw was a fair reflection, or you with actually both Dan and Barney in terms of Fulham were the better team and Everton maybe got away with this one?
Yeah, I'll kind of agree. I think Fulham should have closed the game out. They had a couple of chances, by the way. Good goal, by the way, from Iwobi. Not a bad goal, by the way. Lovely finish. But I think Fulham could have got more if they really wanted to. But at the end of the day, Everton did give it a go. And we're at the best, I'm not going to lie. But they had to score. They had to find a way because they can't afford to lose at home. You want to get something at the game. You need to win your home games. Everton didn't do that. That's the problem. And I think Everton will be relieved when Beto got that 95th minute equaliser. And he was so proud when he scored that goal. But if I was Marco Silva and Barney and Fulham, I'd be disappointed. 2 points dropped there so late in the game. I mean, Fulham tried to walk the ball in the net as well. And I think if Fulham were more clinical on the day, I think they would have been all right. It would have been okay. But for me, I think Fulham will be fine this season. Everton will be fine this season. Don't worry about that. But I think Sean Dyche done a wonderful job. And Marcus Silva, well, what can I say about him? Fulham fans loves him. And if you want to watch a football game at Fulham, it's a lovely club there to watch and enjoy a popular Fulham. Because I think as neutral, I wouldn't mind watching Fulham. I think they're a decent side.
Yeah, fair enough. Nick says in the comments
I was going to say,
Yeah, go for
I
it.
was going to say there was a tweet going around from Beto was quite emotional after he scored, and there was a tweet going around from a Newcastle fan, and he was like, "Everton fans I feel sorry for Beto. Everton fans and this, that, and the other." And Everton fans have not been on Beto's back whatsoever. Everton fans actually want Beto to get more of a chance. The only thing Everton fans are frustrated with is that Calvert-Lewin's been picked over Beto all the time, and Everton fans wish Beto got selected more. So there was not Everton fans on to Beto, and that's the reason he was crying, by the way. If you've seen that tweet going around, that was not the reason Beto was crying. Beto was just emotional because Dyche is just not giving him a chance, and Dyche is very stubborn on giving new players a chance. Just want to put that clear.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, I mean, I like Beto because I watched his progress at Udinese and Italian Serie A, and I think this guy is a target man. He's quick. He scored against us last season, but I will say this, right? I think I'll go with you, Dan. I think Beto needs to have more of a chance at the club. I mean, look, I don't know what's happened between Beto and Sean, but something doesn't seem to be correct. But I think
100%.
Beto deserves more of a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's really good to hear your thoughts on that. And thank you, as always, to Southampton fan and others for getting involved in the chat. Next game that I want to move on to is Chelsea, who beat Newcastle 2-1. And John, it's only fair we start with you. You're unbeaten. Unbeaten, not at all. You're winless in 6 games. Quite the opposite. What's gone wrong for Newcastle? Is it time to panic?
Well, we got some games coming up as well, which is not going to be clever for Newcastle. We need to win. You need to win games and win quick because at the minute, someone that isn't quite right at Newcastle at all whatsoever. I can't even lie. I mean, I look at the team, right? I mean, we can't string 2 passes together in the final third, right? The 2 goals conceded, right? We're giving the ball away. We ain't good, yeah. I look at the midfield 3. You got Tonali, you got Bruno Guimaraes, right? And you got Joe Linton in the midfield 3, right?
Yeah.
Since the beginning of last season, how many games have we won where we had those 3 I've just mentioned in the team? How many games have we won since the 3 I mentioned have won since the beginning of last season?
I'm sure.
I'll give you an answer. Once. So something quite right in the mid. We haven't got, right, in that team a 6. We haven't got a number 6. Yeah. Eddie Howe doesn't play a number 6. He just says 3 central midfielders in the midfield, yeah, in the midfield 3. He doesn't change things up, right? I'm afraid, right? And another problem we've got at the football club, right, guys, we haven't got a dead ball specialist at the football club. Now, a lot of Newcastle fans haven't even mentioned that. We have not got a dead ball specialist. When's the last time someone scored a free kick? Direct free kick. I can't remember, to be fair. I'm not going to lie. But something ain't right. And as for Isak, especially I love him, his attitude is so wrong. I think his head's been turned. I can't lie. Because that chance he had in second half, he should have squared it to Joe Linton and would have been 2s each. But the first goal, there's not a lot you can do about it. Cole Palmer's pass was fantastic. And then it fell to Neto. Neto beat Shah Revis. Pulled the ball back to Nicholas Jackson, who I really rate, and back in the net. And then the second goal we conceded, right? It's just Isak lost the ball in midfield. Couldn't be bothered to track back. Cole Palmer ran 40 yards and smacked it in the back of the net. But we're just not scoring goals, Harry. It's as simple as that. And if you don't score goals, you don't win games. I don't think you got 2 goals in us at the minute. The last time we scored twice was against you lot. Yeah? That's against you lot. No, tell a lie, against Wolves, sorry. We're just not scoring enough. There's no press. There's no intensity. There's just no get-go. There's nothing in this team. And Eddie needs to find a formula. And I love Eddie the bits, yeah? But he needs to find wins, and he needs to find wins quickly. Because if he doesn't, don't forget, we've got Arsenal on Saturday. We've got to talk about that, I'm sure. Forest away.
Yeah.
We've got to play Forest. We've got to play West Ham at home. Palace away. Liverpool home. Brentford away. And I tell you what, I don't feel confident, guys, going into any of those games at the minute. And it does look great. So we're 12th at the minute. We're not scoring enough goals, but we need to find wins very quickly.
I do agree with this comment, though. But firstly, thank you, John. But the comment here says that you're unlucky to lose on the day, and you actually, this Southampton fan thought was your best performance of the season. I think actually when you were winning, you looked worse. There was times that you won games like 1-0 where I thought, God, you looked awful. But I actually look at you now and think you look good. And I think Eddie Howe's right, and you're right as well. You can't score, and it's a problem with Isak, etc.
Yeah, we need to get the trouble is though, right? I look at the team, right? I mean, you look at the bench, right? I look at the bench on Sunday. We had 2 goalkeepers on the subs bench. 2 goalkeepers. That tells me, right? Our bench is not good enough, Harry. I mean, you got Longstaff there, ain't good enough. Target not good enough, yeah. You got Asula, right? I'm not gonna tap on this guy because he's only young and he only just joined the club. I get that, yeah. He's not Mikey Moore, isn't he? He's not Mikey Moore. I'm sorry, he's not. Yeah. I can't even lie. But the one thing I'm going to say, right, our bench looked weak. That it was last season. And that's the worry. That's the worry, guys. We need a stronger bench, and you ain't got that.
Yeah, I think you're definitely restricted this summer on what you could buy.
PSR doesn't help us at all. PSR doesn't help us at all, man.
No, it doesn't. Kallum, I'll come to you next on this game. What do you make of it? Because I want to focus on Chelsea now. 17 points in 9 games for Maresca, and he starts life at Chelsea. They look good, don't they, at this moment in time?
Definitely a far cry from last year compared to year now. I mean, everyone was saying what a good job Pochettino's done, and Maresca seems to have taken them to a level that everyone's quite shocked and surprised about. I mean, admittedly, they've got enough players to field a first team, second team, under 21, under 23 netball team, and a running track team as well to go along with it. But I mean, realistically, they are doing some really good stuff. So I don't think you can take it away from them. Do I think they are a proper team? Probably not. They are being bankrolled. But at the moment, when you've got people like Palmer, like Jackson, who are in such great form, I mean, you can't take it away from them. Even a scrappy 2-1 win against Newcastle is when Chelsea weren't particularly playing well. Yeah, Newcastle probably played worse at times in that game as well. It's definitely, they've got a resilience about them. And they're grinding out wins as well. They go 1-0 up, they come back to 1-1, and they still come back and win it as well. So I definitely think there's some different stuff about him. I don't particularly rate Maresca as a manager. I think he is more of a coach, but because of the options he does have available, I mean, he can field different stuff. So it's being like a Spurs fan, it's definitely concerning when you see that they're really flying high at the moment, ahead of us as well. And you think that they was a diabolical so-and-so team last year. And now when I look at it, I'm thinking, oh, wait, they're actually ahead of us in the table. So, I mean, how does that make us look when I think we was having quite a decent season? But no, can't take it away from them. They've definitely got some aspect to their game where they are pushing forward and grinding out these wins. And they're doing it in the Conference League as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where they do go from here. But no, credit to them. They grinded out a scrappy 2-1 win, and they did knock over Newcastle without realistically too much of an issue, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, they did. Thanks to brilliance of Cole Palmer. I mean, John mentioned it. What an excellent pass. Obviously, he's not the only player that's done really well and started the season well. Thank you for that, Kallum. But he certainly has a big part to play, and I think he's a special player. But Dan, how do you review this game? When Newcastle feel hard done by, John said they're in 12th place now. It's not where they would have wanted to be after 9 games.
I watched this game actually, and I did think that Chelsea would. I thought Chelsea would do Newcastle easier. I thought Newcastle's defence would struggle against Chelsea's attackers. And I was really surprised how good Newcastle was this game, because once Chelsea scored, I thought Chelsea was going to run away with it, but Newcastle showed that fight to come back and get in the game. Newcastle were going to start fighting against you. Obviously, it was 1-1. And Chelsea got the goal. Isak was so close to get over the line at the end. It was just unlucky. And I honestly thought Newcastle did enough to get a draw out of this game. And this Chelsea team, I think, are really good. Really, Neto is a cracking sign. Neto's like the icing on the cake. I mean, Neto is a proper. These are big boy players. These are Chelsea mean business this season. You've got Neto, you've got Palmer, who's a proper hotcake. He's fire. He is. These are players that are just characters that are just going to get on the pitch and they're just going to tear players apart. And every position, you've got James coming back now and who's taking out Cucurella, and every position is strong. The only thing with Chelsea is probably the centre-backs look a bit dodgy sometimes, and you can test the centre-backs, which I think Newcastle did. I think they called out the centre-backs, and that's where they got the joy. I think Isak was good, and he destroyed the centre-backs, and they struggled with him. I think with how good that Chelsea team is, I think this Chelsea team's top four easy going to smash it this season. With how good that Chelsea team is, I think Newcastle can say, right, we did step up that game. Let's crack on, because we showed enough to say we can compete with a Chelsea team that's probably going to finish third, second, or first in the league. So Newcastle can take positives away from this, I think. So I didn't expect them to be that good against this big team Chelsea that are doing well.
No, nor did I. Barney, how do you see the it's shaping up come the end of the season in terms of Chelsea and Newcastle? I think it's two teams that want to find themselves at least inside the top six, if not more. Do you see it being that way? I mean, Newcastle points-wise, not looking good, but I think performances are looking good.
Performances for Newcastle have definitely been improving. They are much, much better than when they faced us, the game I went to them. I thought actually they gave Chelsea a good game. But Chelsea have just good players all over the pitch. Palmer and Neto just on a different level, to be honest. I do see them both finishing there or thereabouts, challenging for Europe. I don't think if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be too despondent about this result. Though, if you look on paper, that kind of lack of wins recently is going to make you sort of have that doubt. I know you mentioned it, John. You know, the longer this run goes on, and you look at the fixtures that you've got coming up, it's going to put pressure on the team. But there's definitely positives to take from this. So I wouldn't be too downward if I was a Newcastle fan at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, if you look at the Chelsea bench compared to our bench, they got mashed with us all over the shop. But what we definitely need a dead ball specialist. And I like to see Eddie change the formation to 4-2-3-1. Then, aren't we? We can play 4-2-3-1. We need to ban a dead ball specialist. Miguel Almiron, right? The player I don't rate, right? He's still at Atlanta, and he's not a dead ball specialist for Newcastle. But that we need someone's going to be there. He's going to take free kicks. Someone's going to take, and that's another thing, guys. Before we go on, they just don't do long shots. That is the thing.
For me, though, John, I was just going to chuck on you though. For me, the biggest struggle for Newcastle this season is not having Botman. Botman is one of the best centre backs in the league, and when Newcastle had him, if you've got a good, I said this about Bradford when everyone was after him. The centre backs can win games for teams. Trust me, they organise everything. And Botman for Newcastle, he was the reason that they did so well. And I don't know when he's back, but he is a cracking centre back, and you massively miss him. He's a lot better than Dan Burn, in my opinion.
Yeah,
definitely. I agree with you. I think he's a really, really good defender. We could do him in, but he has to come back when he's right. We're not going to have him back halfway through the injury. We need to get him back when he's correct. And when he comes back, if it comes till next year, cool, that's fine. But we still need a pacey centre back. Dan Burn, I love him. I don't think he's that same player now, yeah. Fabian Schär, I don't think he had a good season, to be fair, right? He's been poor, I'm not going to lie. But other than that, we still need to turn over those players because there's about 6 or 7 of them are still played for Newcastle under Rafa Benitez. And we need to get those players out and get fresh young players coming in.
Yeah, absolutely do. We'll move on to the next game, Selhurst Park, where Crystal Palace beat Tottenham 1-0. Kallum, I'll kick it off with you. I'm very sorry to have to do this to you. Spurs point of view, what went wrong? I mean, this result wasn't seen, I don't think, coming to this game. I think, Ange talks about it, Vicario talks about it, a lack of fight. I just think we didn't turn up, and I think that's inexcusable.
Yeah, no, I think you've you summed up my frustration in polite and pleasant terms, because I know there was a lot of swearing going on when I was driving home at the radio when I was listening to the game. I can't believe I actually went back and watched it, to be honest. It's 90 minutes of my life I'm never getting back, to be honest. But no, it was definitely a lack of desire, a lack of interest. I think it took me back to the Brighton game a couple of weeks ago, where we looked like we'd already thought we'd done the job and all that. We were just going to rock up there and it'd be easy sailing, and we'd have a bit of fun down by the seaside and have a chilled out opportunity. Well, I think Spurs must have literally still been on holiday when they turned up for this game. They might not as even well have turned up.
Do you know what? I wish they were. I wish they were. I think we would have had a better chance without, because we were never in that game, were we, Kallum? It doesn't even sounds strange to say that Palace had won this game. Okay, that happens. We weren't even in this game. We didn't win one single battle, and the stats are really bad throughout the season as well. If you look at it, this is our 4th defeat now in 9 games. We're 25% of the way through the season. Ange has a 44% win record out of 9 games. Nuno, in his 10 Premier League games in charge of Spurs, only had a 50% win record. That's higher than Ange Postecoglou's. We've only won 3 games on the road in the Premier League.
It's definitely
this year.
Not good.
Not good.
It's definitely concerning, mate, hands down. And I mean, when you do look at it, that Palace were in 19th or 18th, they hadn't won a game all season, and yet once again Spurs rock up and we decided we was going to pull our pants down for them and let them have a bit of fun for the day and all that to keep themselves busy on a Sunday. We were second best to all the challenges. We were second best to any dead ball situations. I really liked seeing Mikey Moore start, but he looked like he was just isolated outside the game. I think he had one good bit of play in about 70 minutes and he was hooked. James Maddison looked like he was just a passenger as usual. Kulusevski was off form. Romero and Porro, again, I mean, Jesus Christ, I could have got both of their heads together and smacked them and all that, to be honest, because once again, the goal has come from their side. Literally, if I had a choice, if I saw the team bus after the game, I saw them two, there you go, smash against metal. Can you see now? Can you see what's in front of your eyes and all that? Because something would have been beneficial to you to play in the game. But no, it's once again a ball watching exercise that our morons of defenders have done. And we was crap in defence, we was crap in midfield, we had no control. Basuma was useless. He's not a 6, he's an 8. I don't know why we keep insisting on this 6 role that we say he can play. He can't do it. He looks pale and he don't know what way's up either. Brennan Johnson, no service up to him. Solanke tried his best, but he looks like the old days when Kane was there. And when Kane used to drop so deep, try and pick up the ball to make something happen, nothing was happening for us. And Palace played so well around Spurs that even their pressing was like, we made Palace look like prime freaking Barcelona and all that, and that's the problem. Made them look so much better than they actually are, because Palace have been diabolical this year as well. And to be honest, I don't think Spurs are far off their level after that. Like we do 6 good games, so you go 3 steps forward, 12 steps back and all that. And I know I can sound dramatic, but like you said, Nuno, better win rate. And confidence he seems to brim it, and yet he doesn't seem to change much. And then the fact
it's the same goal conceded every week.
Yeah. And the people who are in charge of defending, Sergio Raimondo, Nick Montgomery, and Matt Wells. Yeah. So I mean, Jesus Christ, 2 people who got sacked from Hibernian, and Matt Wells, who has not really had much to do apart from being an assistant coach for Scott Parker at Fulham and Anderlecht. So I mean, no offense, Barney, but they were shocking down for you guys. That's why you sacked them as well. So it's simple as that. And when you do look at it, there's ditto goals continuously against Newcastle, against Arsenal, against bloody Brighton, against what's it called? Against Palace now as well. We probably conceded 6 or 7 goals this season down to our own mistakes. And it is an absolute joke that it's come to this now because we shouldn't be losing to all these lower teams. I mean, we can't play on the road and all that. It makes me feel like how it was when Pochettino, his last season in charge, where we didn't win on the road for 11 months. It's probably where we're probably not far off of that stat now either. And to be honest, and I know all of us are very animated and very passionate about our teams, but it's really becoming frustrating now being a Spurs fan because we was promised all this special stuff, and yet literally Man United have sacked their manager, won two cups in the last 2 years, and got rid of their manager for getting, I think, a 6th place finish and a 5th place finish, something like that. How far Andy's off of that?
Exactly, that adds pressure on Ange. They're only 2 points behind us. Only 2 points behind us. That's very close. And yeah, okay, you lose games like this. It happens. But the performance for me was really bad. And when do you trust the project when the same mistakes are being made every week? And I would argue we're going backwards in some cases as well. Because this game last year, I know a completely different situation, but we won this game last year, and it's not the first time this has happened. West Ham is exceptional. We lost last year, won this year, but they were awful in this game. Before we move on, because we've still got to preview all the 10 games and more 9 games to review as well. Dan, I'll come to you as a chosen one for your thoughts on this game as like an outsider. I want to focus on Crystal Palace, though, because that's the first win of their season. It's massive, isn't it, for them and Oliver Glasner? Do you think they can really kick on now?
Yeah, I think when we come up against Crystal Palace, it was are they going to win or are we going to win? And we managed to beat them. We was both looking for that first win, I think. I think they'd had 3 draws when we played them. They'd drawn 3 games and we hadn't won a game and we beat them. We come back to beat them as well. So I think they've got good players, but we beat them. So Crystal Palace, I don't think Crystal Palace should be beating you. But when you did ask me and saying to me, when I did that thing on will Spurs win a trophy this season, this game's exactly the reason that I said no. This game's exactly this reason I said no, because you've got, I said, I think when I look at you on paper, I like what you've got. I think you're stronger all over the pitch. I do think you've got all the players that you need, maybe a bit more strength and depth, but you've not got that togetherness, that every week let's win. We can put back-to-back wins. You haven't got that about you. That
you don't bounce back.
Saying no, there's always you'll win one because you've got good attacking players. Like when you played us, you can spank a team. You did us, so you will always end up bouncing back and winning a game. That's what you do. You'll go and lose this game and probably win 4-0 your next game, and you're thinking, "Wow, we're shit hot," and then all of a sudden you just have a crap game. Wow, we're good. Then you have a crap game. You always have that crap game in there, and that's why you just can't figure out what Spurs are at the minute. But you definitely got loads of good players and could smash teams. And if a team isn't on it with your attacking players, you can win a game 4, 5, 6-0. You really can. But there's just something about you where you're not showing that consistently to compete in the league of the trying to win the league or the top 4. You haven't got it out about. You're like Spurs. You don't see Spurs have won 6 games in a row. I can't see that happening because you've always got that one game that ruins that win 6 in a row. I don't know. That's just my opinion from the outside.
You're not far wrong there, because no wonder we could probably score about 6 or 8 goals across them 6 games, and we probably concede 7 in one. That's how stupid Spurs is, all down to personal mistakes and all that. So that's how we're the most inconsistent Spursy team in the bloody league and all that. We wonder why we have all of these names, because we don't help ourselves. I think that's the problem. And everyone can see it from the outset. And no matter Ange's exciting style, it's like, it's like what you were saying. How far can this carry on? Can it go on for long? Because, I mean, even bloody Nuno's doing brilliant at Forest at the moment. He's getting plaudits down there, and we blinking sack the geezer.
Make absolutely no mistake about it. Wherever you stand with Ange Postecoglou, this week is massive. Tonight, Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. That game means a lot to the fans. After 16 years of no trophies, it means a lot. An opportunity to get to the quarterfinal. I've seen the lineup. It is strong. We could have gone stronger. We have to see how it goes in the game. City have gone with kind of a second team, but have got the likes of Haaland on the bench. They've still got Foden and Gundogan, etc. in that team. So yeah, there's a real balance. But Aston Villa as well, we lose 8 points behind them, 8 points off the top four. That's a massive backlog all of a sudden where we should be. And where we would have wanted to be, if not more. But we'll move on to the next game, and it's West Ham versus Manchester United, which directly, well, I suppose, resulted in Erik ten Hag's sacking. A lot went on in this game. Wow. John, I'll come to you first. Firstly, was it incorrect to award West Ham the penalty for their winner? Because I saw it back, and I could not understand why that was given.
Never penalty in a million years, Harry. Honestly, it wasn't. I mean, look, they're both coming together. Let's be real, right? I mean, it just goes to show VAR has got it wrong again. Where's the consistency? Where's
Mike Oliver as well, the most respected referee, the most senior referee.
Yeah,
it's awful.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I think, hold on a minute. Are they trying to get Ten Hag to sack here? Because I tell you what, that might cost him his job. But the end of the day, it baffles me. It baffles me. I'm baffled that penalty decision. But then again, right? I think United should have scored early before that Darrow. How did he miss that? I just do not know.
Oh,
that was awful.
I don't know.
But you know what it is? I'm not being funny, but that was absolutely a shocking, Harry. I mean, look, let's put it this way. They're 12th. I think they're 12 or 12th. And I tell you what, they're having a poor season at the minute, United. They really are. But, I mean, West Ham, I think, and the third win of the season, I will Lopetegui. And I think West Ham will probably go up the table because I think they'll be okay this season. But Man U, who's going to be the manager? Is it going to be Amorim? No one knows. But that's not a done deal. But according to
it will be. I think it will be Ruben Amorim. He's been, he hasn't played it down at all when the manager isn't playing it down. He's like, maybe I'll be here at the weekend. Maybe is this the finale? When your manager speaks like that, his head's done. He's been turned.
He's done. It's done deal. And I think if he comes in, I tell you what, I can see half those United players won't be there under this manager, I'm telling you. Because I tell you, he plays fast football. He plays a back three at the back, 4 mid, with wing backs, 2 in between, and 3 up front. I tell you what, some of those players need to cover the shoulder. Because I tell you something, Rashford needs to fix up real quick. Yeah. Harry Maguire needs to be fit. Otherwise, what we'll do, he'll bring his own players coming in. And I think this manager wins things quickly. And I honestly think, given time, I think he'll do good bits for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Barney, before we move on to the last game of the weekend, Erik ten Hag's sacking was confirmed by Monday lunchtime. Does that surprise you? Some say it was surprising how long he stayed in the job, which I agree with, but I didn't expect to read this on Monday. I thought they would stick with him at least until Christmas.
I thought they'd stick with him, Harry, to be honest. But when you're a manager of Manchester United, you're always under pressure. And the results just haven't been happening for them. I mean, they got lucky against us. They've been lucky against a few sides. And they've been really, really, really poor. Against West Ham, West Ham ground that result. And when you're managing a club as big as Manchester United, who haven't performed for a long, long time, let's make no mistake about this. They've been grossly underperforming and they will not want to be where they are in the table. So that doesn't shock me really. I think now, as John says, they do need to clear out because there's a lot of players there who, in my opinion, I think are passengers.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. The last game of game week 9 ended Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2. I mean, it was a fantastic game week 9. I'm not just saying that, but it's full of entertainment everywhere you look. And I think 10 could live up to the same potential. You've got Newcastle and Arsenal in there. That's a big one. Spurs and Villa, Man United, Chelsea, and then derby between Fulham and Brentford. So I don't think it'd be quite as good, but it still could be a very good game week. Kallum, I'll kick it off with you this time. Was a draw a fair result overall? Do you think? I was thinking it was a game that was kind of split, wasn't it, into different periods of who was on top?
Yeah, I think it reminded me of NFL. It was a game of 4 quarters, to be honest. It was a bit of Arsenal, bit of Liverpool, bit of Arsenal, bit of Liverpool. There was definitely good finishing on offer. Probably could have been better, though, from quite a few players. I mean, both teams didn't defend. Let's put it that way. Obviously, a big loss for Arsenal was Saliba being out injured, or not injured, suspended after the Bournemouth game the previous week. So, no, I think it was definitely a good neutral game from it. I mean, I was hoping for a draw as well because it meant that theoretically, if Spurs had any common sense on Sunday, we might have been a little bit closer to them. By the end of the day, didn't really matter to me. But no, I think a draw was probably fair. I think maybe Liverpool might have thought they could have done a bit better, to be honest, because Arsenal were definitely down to the bare bones by the end of it. They did lose quite well. They're struggling for injuries. Let's put it this way now, and quite a few more have been said to be dropping like flies at the moment. So no, I think good neutral game at the Emirates. Definitely got all the aspects of it to say that it's two teams that are vying for the top. It's just that both of them chose not to defend and they just went gung-ho on the day, to be honest, mate.
Oh, I'm on mute. Apologies. Dan, what do you make of this one? It was eventful. 4 goals in it again. This game week had lots of goals in. Was the draw a fair reflection? Who deserved it more if you had to choose someone to win that game?
As an Everton fan watching in, obviously I was wanting them to spank. You know what I mean? I watched them and I wanted Arsenal to beat them. Unlucky. I think until Gabriel got injured, I think if he didn't get injured, the centre back, I think they would have won that game. I really do think that him getting injured was massive. And Van Dijk in the interview, hate him, by the way, absolutely hate him. Not going to swear on the channel, but I hate Van Dijk. Saying you haven't got many players injured, you've only got like 2 players injured. Well, the 2 players injured was their best. The 2 players out was their best centre back. Like they didn't have, like you say, Saliba, who's massive in a big game like that. When you come up against in a big game and you want to see who's the best, Saliba out was massive. And then Gabriel, when he went off, I think they would have won. I think he would have helped them see it out. So Van Dijk, if they didn't have Van Dijk as centre-back and they didn't have the other guy, whatever his name is, Canate, I think Arsenal would have battered them. So I don't know how Van Dijk can say that because I think Arsenal's attackers would have smashed them. I can't wait for teams to start spanking Liverpool. I can't. And if everyone keeps bottling it, if everyone keeps bottling, spanking them, we'll do it because we've got them coming up in the derby. Do you know what I mean? And if everyone keeps bottling, I've watched Liverpool. I watched them against Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace had about 3-4 chances where they should have scored against them, and they have been a bit lucky. Not as good as they have been running away top of the league. So, so some teams need to start taking points off these because we're making Liverpool's life too easy, and I don't want them to win the league. I really don't. So everyone needs to step up when they play them. They really do.
That's a message to everyone else.
So Dan, can we clip this where when they do come and play you guys and when they probably beat you 7-0, we can clip it and you guys
don't worry, I've got it. Well, I've only got it when I was in contention to win the league last season and we beat them and they lost the league at Goodison Park. So I've already got it clipped all season. They lost the league at Goodison Park when Calvert-Lewin and Braithwaite scored against them and we beat them 2-0. I'm not scared of them, mate. McAllister can't tackle. He picks up yellow cards for fun. They're not... trust me, I've watched their games and they've been gifted. They have Crystal Palace. I couldn't believe it. Crystal Palace should have beat them. They missed 3 sitters at the end to draw. It was all over them at the end. Teams have just let them have it easy, and they do need to step it up. Van Dijk's got the big name, but there's mistakes in him. I'm telling you, there is mistakes in him. He holds back a little bit now. Smash him up, Liverpool. Smash him up. I can't wait to do a video when we beat them, and I'll pass it on to you.
Let's see. Let's see. We'll clip that. So that is Gameweek 9 review. Does anyone have to jump before we preview Gameweek 10?
Cool, Harry.
I might do in a minute though because Newcastle are on, but I'll wait for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can do
Jesse,
another
just
5.
message me.
I can do another 5 to 10, and then I'll jump because of Spurs. and I've
Okay,
got to
so
have dinner.
what we do is we preview game week 10, but we just do the score predictions. So, and I mean, if you want to comment very, very quickly, so we review them all, if that's okay. And we'll start with Newcastle versus Arsenal. John, score prediction?
Yep. This game for Newcastle Arsenal. For
Newcastle.
me, I don't feel confident going into this game. I mean, Hart said we're going to get a win, but Arsenal, I don't know. I tell you what, I'm going to say once each.
Okay, well, one, thank you. Kallum?
I reckon Arsenal probably got just a little bit more about them, but I don't think they're going to have any defenders. I think they're going to have Timber, White, and Kivior at the weekend if Gabriel and Saliba are out. So I'll go a tight 2-1 in Arsenal's favour because Newcastle can't score.
I'm going 3-1 Arsenal, and questions around Eddie Howe's future I think will come around really quickly. I think Arsenal will grind out that result, to be fair. It'd be a really good result if they did, considering the players they've got out. Not necessarily the quantity, but Dan mentioned the importance of them. Talking of Dan, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle. I think they showed they impressed me last game. I know they didn't get the result, but I think Newcastle, where everyone's starting to jump on the manager's back, this could be the one where he gets a result and they get behind. 2-1 Newcastle.
Always the way. Always the way. I mean, Ten Hag, how many times nearly go and he just gets that result and they judge it by that kind of week. But no, thank you very much. Barney?
I think Newcastle had a good game previously, even though they lost. I fancy a little response from them now, so I'm going for a 1-1.
1-0. Okay, lovely. A few draws in there. Bournemouth versus Manchester City. No disrespect to Bournemouth, and I think they've started the season well, but this may go one way. John, score prediction for this one at the Vitality?
I'll go with you. I think Bournemouth will try give it a go, but I think City will just have enough. I would say Bournemouth 1, City 2.
Okay. I'm going to completely contradict myself. I'm going to go with 1-1. Going to be a little bit different. Bournemouth have really impressed me, so I'm going to back them to get a draw in this game. That'll backfire, won't it? When Erling Haaland scores 3 or 4 goals after I triple captained him this week. Glad I captained him, but a mistake to triple captain him. Kallum, score prediction?
Yeah, can't see anything more than a Man City win, to be honest, unless Bournemouth turn up like they did against Arsenal. So I'm going to go 3-1. 3-1 Man City.
I think we said Bournemouth then. No, 3-1 Manchester City. No, fair enough. Barney?
I think Man City will have too much for this game. Bournemouth will battle, so I'm going for 2-0 City.
2-0 City, fair enough. Dan, are you also going for Manchester City to win?
Yeah, I'm going to go Manchester City to win 7-1. I'm going to go for. I think we're going to see City turn up. I think City can smash these. I'm surprised City haven't smacked teams yet.
Serious with 7-1 though.
It's not. Bournemouth's defence ain't that good. We scored 2 against them, so why can't City score 7? 7-1 I'm going for.
Jesus.
Wow.
Crikey.
When I'm right, I'll crop that as well, don't worry.
I didn't know you
were
playing Football Manager.
Yeah.
Remember when Kallum was scoring like 2 hat-tricks last season? Kallum was scoring like 2 hat-tricks last season. Where's all that gone? Do you know what I mean? Man City will step up. And like I said, if Liverpool aren't to win the league, Manchester City needs to start stepping it up to stop them from winning the league.
Yeah, definitely. Big one at Portman Road, Ipswich Town against Leicester City. Leicester need a response after losing to Nottingham Forest. But even more important, we talk about response. Kieran McKenna's side at home, I think they're really going to struggle away, so they have to win their home games. No better start now against Leicester, who will be in and around that area in the relegation zone. Kallum, score prediction for this one. Do you back Ipswich to get their first win of the campaign?
Yeah, I'd hope Liam Delap knocks Leicester down a little bit because Leicester made me nearly cry on the first day of the season. So I'm going to go 2-1 Ipswich.
2-1 Ipswich, love that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. 2-1 Ipswich. John?
That's going to be a really tough game. I think the best Ipswich can hope for is a draw, 2-2.
Going for 2-2 in that one. Dan?
Yeah, I thought Leicester would be shocking this season, but they just get results like against you. So I'm going to go 1-1. Although I want Ipswich to win, I think Leicester they're better than what they look on paper. They perform 1-1.
Yeah, they do. Certainly, I mean, talk about them needing response. In terms of the table, they're actually all right. It's just the fact maybe they'll be a little bit frustrated with their last game. So thank you, Dan. Barney, how do you see this one going? Ipswich can't afford to lose again, can they?
They can't. They can take heart from the previous game. Leicester have had some good results, but I can see Ipswich being at home, finally getting their first win, 2-1.
You're going 2-1. Okay. That leads us on to the next game. And Dan, I'll start with you, with your beloved Liverpool. Only joking. At home to Brighton. How do you see this one going in your score prediction?
I didn't
Sorry.
flag you then. I was tempted. I won't flag on your channel. I'm a respectful person. No, I'm going to go for Brighton to actually do it. You know what I mean? I don't want it to come down to us sorting them out. Brighton to win. 3-2, because they've both got goals in them, haven't they? 3-2 Brighton. I know it's a stupid score, but 3-2. I can't see the clean sheet in that game.
No, nor can I. Do you know what? I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad I'm not the only one in this scenario. I think Brighton will win, and I think Liverpool kind of got away with, as you said, got by kind of thing. And I think Brighton will punish them as they look for a response to dropping 2 points against Wolves. So I'm going 2-1. Brighton. Barney.
I think there'll be goals in this game. I'm going for 2-2.
2-2. Love it. Kallum?
I got to back Liverpool on this one. Brighton are too unpredictable. Oh, don't. I mean, they are the best team in Liverpool, only because of the name. The other place.
Oh my god!
Oh,
the other place is sink.
Can you smell that? Can you? Oh my god!
The other place is sinking into the river. To be honest, it's that old place smells like
one of the best. You say that, but when you go there, you say that, but when you go there, you'll be like, you'll be the first person when he goes there. You'll be like taking a picture of him in all the 5-star Everton cafe, taking a picture saying, "Oh, I'm at the new Bramley-Moore dock that looks absolutely insane by the sea, incredible stadium." And we're going to be like champions. We're going to be Europa League in it. Bring it on. Bring it on. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be the best seat. It's going to be the best stadium in the Championship next
season. What I like is that you've got well, it's funny how Richardson's gone to you and he's already crying to come back, so says a lot about Spurs in a minute as well, doesn't it? Richardson's you can't keep any of your players happy, can you? I mean, you've got a cracking player like Richardson that could win you games all the time. But instead, you'd rather turn your back on him. So bring it back.
I think Richarlison would rather be in a top 4 battle though than a Championship top 4 battle.
Are you in a top 4 battle though? Are you in a top 4 battle after losing against Crystal Palace, who hadn't won a game?
It's where we hope we are. But it's all right, though, because Everton can't afford to buy Richarlison back because you put all of your money into a contemporary, wonderful cafe. Instead, you guys have got the same business model as Daniel Levy with a hotel. You guys have gone for a cafe. We build a hotel. We build a very good entertainment arena. You guys like cafes down by the docks instead.
I think you need to... I think you need to read the newspaper because Dan Freakin, who's a multi-billionaire, has just brought Everton. Dan Freakin, the Roma owner, who's going to pump loads of money into Everton, and I think we'll be buying players and competing. So Dan Freakin's not a bad owner.
No, the problem is his first takeover already put you guys in debt, so you already owe him money because he's paid off 777 already. So it's only like 250 grand, a million extra debt.
He's paid all the stadium off. Dan Freakin's paid all the stadium off now for Bramley-Moore Dock, so that's basically done. He's already said that he wants to get in takeover as soon as possible so we can start getting players in for January. So the only way is up, baby. And I can't wait when the only way is up to wave to you when you're below us, mate. I can't wait.
Right, let's see.
How much to buy out Mashiri, to be fair? Has he finally got rid of all the money that they owe him, or has he just drained the club of everything he wants for his private yachts and all that rubbish?
He's just took a loss. He's had to take a loss, Mashiri has as well. He's had to take a loss. Our fresh start starts when Dan Freakin takes over. New stadium, Dan Freakin takes over. Our new board, our football club's going to be run properly and we can compete. I can't wait for the moment. Championship, my arse. No chance, mate. People say that, but it never happens, does it? Right. Go on, Harry.
Right. John, can I thank you very much, guys? I really enjoyed that. A little
Liverpool Brighton, I didn't go to score for that one. I was going to say just Liverpool. They're playing really well. I'm going to say Liverpool 2, Brighton 1.
Lovely. And John, I'll stay with you for the next game. Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. Can I get your score prediction, please?
Of course you can. Forest are on fire at the minute. West Ham, I mean, they put it together, but it's going to be a tight game. I'm going to say Forest 1, West Ham 0.
Okay, well, interesting. Kallum, I'll come back to you for your score prediction.
I'm going to go, I reckon, 2-1 Forest. I think that Nuno will get something out of this game, to be honest, and I think Lopetegui will be looking for his P45 again.
Dan, score prediction?
Kudus out is massive, isn't it? If Kudus was playing, I'd probably say West Ham, but I'm going to go for a draw. I think they're both good. Both good draw. 2-2. Goals.
Interesting. And Barney, yeah, goals for sure.
I've been really impressed, Harry, with Forest this season. So I think I'm going to go for a Forest win 2-1.
2-1 Forest win. I'm going to go with an upset then. I'll go with 2-1 West Ham win. I think they build on that win against Man United. I think Forest a little bit complacent going into that game. Southampton versus Everton. We've still got the Southampton fan in the chat. It would be interesting. I'll come to you first. Dan, how do you feel ahead of this one? I mean, you must be confident.
Don't think any fan's confident in any game at the minute, especially all of us on. Do you know what I mean? You just lost against Crystal Palace, so I can't be confident in any game. The moment you are confident against a team, like probably you was when you played Crystal Palace, you probably thought to yourself, right, Crystal Palace haven't won a game, we should beat them. And I think that's what I'd look at the Southampton game. It's easy to go into that, Southampton are shit, we should beat them. And I do think that Iliman and Jai should rip them to pieces. Yeah, of course he should, but if we win, well, we're unbeaten 5. If we win that, we're unbeaten in 6, and we've won 2 in our last 3. So yeah, we'll smash these. I think we'll go 4-1. We always concede 4-1. Put Branthwaite in the team, though, please, Sean Dyche. Get Branthwaite in the team, and we'll be sorted. 4-1 Everton.
4-1 Everton. Wow.
Wow.
I've got to go with it. I've got to go with 1-0 Southampton, Dan. Just to see your
why did you all say wow? What is the grudge on Everton here? I tell you something. I'm beating in 5.
Well, you are beating in 5, yeah. But look at your start to the season; it didn't look good. But you have turned a corner, I will say. But Barney, what's your score prediction ahead of this one? I don't think there'll be that many watching if you're not Southampton and Everton fans.
I don't see Southampton making a huge impact going forward, certainly in the season. So, Dan, you can keep cheering now because I'm going for a 2-1 Everton win.
This isn't a relegation battle, by the way. This isn't like don't think that many will be watching. I'll tell you something. Next time we play Spurs, we're spanking you. We're not letting you score 4 next time. We're spanking you next time because we're not in a relegation battle this season. We're not in a relegation battle this season. Sean Dyche is an idiot, I tell you, but we're not in a relegation battle. And Jai is class. Iliman and Jai is class. Yeah, go on then.
You might be in the championship who work for Sean Dyche. Not bad for an idiot.
I think you'll be in there. I think you'll be in there as well. The way you're going.
Well,
losing against Crystal Palace. I've got Crystal Palace in a relegation battle, and if you're losing against them, I think you'll be in there.
Right, let's run through these last predictions. Kallum, Southampton, Everton.
I mean, I'm going to back Everton, but only because my best mate's a Saints fan, and he drives all the way down there to the South Coast. So it's nice to see him very riled up and annoyed every weekend after coming back from them games. But I think it's going to be a tight one. I reckon Everton have got to play Brathwaite. They've got to play Beto as well, because, I mean, Calvert-Lewin can't stay fit. So I reckon it's going to be 2-1 Everton. I think this could be Nathan Jones's last game down at, say, Southampton as well, to be honest.
Russell Martin.
Oh, the old coach. Whoops. Yeah, Russell Martin then. There we go. That's how much I care about Southampton.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's whiz through the last few just score predictions, not why. Wolves versus Crystal Palace. John, score prediction.
I think this could be a high scoring draw. 2-2.
Okay. 2-2. Thank you, Kallum.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 1-1. Definitely a relegation scrap, this one.
Yeah. Barney?
2-1 Palace.
Yeah. Dan?
I'm with John, 2-2.
2-2. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-2 as well. I think it has a draw written all over it. Tottenham versus Aston Villa. Kallum, I'll start off with you. Oh, I'm not feeling confident at all.
I'm not confident, but I've got to back Spurs, so I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs, because I don't think Villa are scoring that many goals at the moment. So I'm hoping that we can just outscore them on the day, because I know we'll definitely concede from a mistake of our own at the back. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I can't go with us to lose again. 1-1. I'll go for 1-1 in this game. Dan, what do you reckon?
After Kallum giving it large, I hope you get beat now 3-1. I would have gone Spurs, but now I'm going 3-1 Aston Villa.
Kallum, what have you done? You lost a potential fan that could have wanted Spurs their second club.
He's an Evertonian. We don't want him. He's an Evertonian. We don't want him.
Yeah, he's put Spurs on my shit list. You know what I mean, Harry? So there you go. 3-1.
Well, you won't have to worry about us when you're in the Championship. Don't worry.
Right.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I've heard it all before. I heard that last season. Did we get relegated? I heard that season before. Did we get relegated? I heard it the season before. It's boring story, isn't it? Boring story.
It's what everyone was hoping for. That's what it was.
Yeah,
go down, come back up, rebuild yourself like Newcastle.
Right.
We don't need to, though, do we?
Barney,
why do we get relegated when we don't need to? Love it.
My score prediction is going to be, I think Villa will give you a game, Harry, but I think you'll get a response. I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Going for a 1-1 draw. Manchester United versus Chelsea. Manchester United, obviously, Van Nistelrooy temporarily in charge. Kallum, how's this one going to go?
I'm going to back Chelsea on this one. I think that they'll do what most people do and go to United and get a result at the moment. So I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea.
Going to go 3-1 Chelsea. John?
What's the game Chelsea against? Sorry? Man United. I think Chelsea's going to be too strong. They're on form at the minute. And Man United will probably raise their game under the new manager. So I still think Chelsea will beat them. I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea.
You're going 2-1 Chelsea. Barney, score prediction?
Yeah, you always wonder what new manager bounce would do, but I just think Chelsea had too much for them. So I'm going for 2-1 Chelsea.
Going for 2-1 Chelsea. Dan?
I didn't say anything on Man United's manager because you asked me, but I'll tell you something. The worst thing Man United did was winning the cup because the manager should have got sacked last season. It's the first thing I would have put on if I was going to put something on. I knew he was going to get sacked first this season. Really unhappy camp. And by the way, Manchester United, the players that they've got, you wouldn't believe that they've got Evans. You wouldn't believe they've got Eriksen. The team that they've got are shocking. Honestly, I can't believe they haven't built a young, powerful squad. Chelsea are exactly what Man United would dream to be right now. And I'm going to go Chelsea to batter them 3-1. Easy. They'll destroy the defence, Chelsea will. Could be even 5, but 4. We'll go 3-1.
Okay, yeah. I think Chelsea going to this as favourites, absolutely. Barney?
I think 2-2.
2-2, and we'll stay with you, Barney. Fulham versus Brentford?
This is going to be a tricky one. If the right Fulham turn up, Brentford concede, but we concede too. We can't keep clean sheets. You've got to back your team. I'm 3-2 Fulham.
3-2 Fulham. Kallum?
I reckon 2-2.
2-2. I've backed Fulham to win, to bounce back. I think Brentford, they've won a lot of games in a row. I think they'll come to an end or got positive results, should I say, consistently throughout the season. John?
It's going to be a tricky game, this one. Let's go goals everywhere. I've got to say 3-2, and I'm going to go. I keep Barney happy. I'll go 3-2 to Fulham because I think they're going to be okay.
Lovely.
Love it, John.
Dan?
I'm gonna go 2-2 because I have got respect for Brentford. I think Fulham was good against us, but Brentford I think are good as well. So it'll be a good game, that will, by the way.
It certainly will be. And I think that wraps us up nicely for this week's Premier League show. Apologies for the rush, but there are Carabao Cup games currently underway and also at 8:15 p.m. when we recorded this. So thank you to everyone who listened in. Like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be massively appreciated to support our ongoing work. Massive thanks to my panel. Kallum, better late than never. Thank you very much. Where can people find you?
No, cheers for having me on again, mate. Obviously, you can find me at CallumStubbs97 on Twitter. You can find me on Park Lane Podcast on Sundays. You can find Fat Dave at the moment on Pod Lads at 9 o'clock on there. And then you can find me most of the times on your channel when you want me and Jay to fill out some slots on it as well. So that's great.
Yes,
In the Everton kit shop, you can find it.
Yeah, I'll be the one sitting fired to it. It'd be wonderful.
Secret Everton fan. He wants to get relegated. He's obsessed. You know what I mean? Everton kit shop. He's a fan.
God, don't.
Love it.
Oh, dear. John, thank you very much for coming on this week's Premier League show. Where can people find you across social media?
Thanks so much for having us on, mate. You can find me on John Sinclair TV, and you can also find us on YouTube, also on X. That's John_NFC42. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Insta. You can find me on Facebook as well. I don't use Facebook as much, but yeah, TikTok, yeah, it's the way to go. You can find us on that, John Sinclair YT, and you can find us on X as well. So if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Dan, it's a pleasure to get you on. I think your debut on the Premier League podcast anyway. So, no, I do really appreciate it. The first Everton fan we've had on. So, no, it is interesting. Where can people find you across social media and talk to people about Toffee Bluecast?
It's Dan Freakin is taking Everton to the top.com. If you just look that up. No, it's Toffee Bluecast. Yeah, get on it. We're looking to hit 2,000 subscribers, so get on it. Hit that subscribe.
Nice.
Love Harry anyway. Yeah, I always have Harry on, don't we? Harry, we have you on the Toffee Bluecast.
Yeah.
So get on it. Toffee Bluecast, get on it.
Yeah, a great podcast. I always had the pleasure to go on. No, honestly, I really do enjoy it. One of the definitely better podcasts to go on for sure. So, no, really appreciate you coming on, Dan. Barney, also, thank you very much for coming on this week's Premier League show. Where can people find you across social media?
It's a pleasure, Harry, my friend. It's a great honour to be on this show. People can find me on X, Twitter at Ambrose Barnaby. It's just at Ambrose Barnaby, or TikTok at Barney FFC. Go and follow me there. But it's been great to talk to you all, and thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening. Thank you for listening to the Premier League podcast.